Mark Rogers TV with you just 3 days before National Signing Day. And when we talk recruiting classes, you can look at the rankings nationally. You can look at them within the SEC, and they're completely different, meaning a school like Mississippi State's 19th in the country and 9th in the SEC. And then when you even size it down to the state of Alabama, the bar is set extremely high with Alabama right now with another #1 recruiting class. We bring in Jamie Hancock from Preps Nation to talk about the Auburn 2015 recruiting class. Jamie, thanks so much for joining us as always. Jamie gives us insight that we basically can't find anywhere else when it comes to high school football, the transition to the collegiate level, especially in the SEC, and the recruiting process in general. So, Jamie, I've got to set you up for what we were just talking about off camera in regards to this Nigerian football player who's come over and has completely wowed the scouts, and you've got some amazing stories concerning this kid that we'll call Prince Tega.
Yeah, Tega's a kid that came over to Edgewood Academy. My friend Bobby Carr is the head coach at Edgewood, and they're one of the most successful private school programs in the state of Alabama. They won numerous consecutive state championships in their classification, as well as I've lost count of the number of consecutive wins. And Tega's just a kid that he had never seen a football before August. And just in much of a blindside story, he walks up to the football field, talks to Coach Carr, convinces him that he realizes that it's not soccer, it's football. And, you know, it takes him 2 days to find a pair of shoes to fit the kid. He's so big, at 6'8", 250, and a size 18 shoe. He has no knowledge of anything that's going on a football field day one. By the end of the season, he's become this infatuation as colleges get a hold of his film, and you see a kid that's running in the wrong direction a lot of times on play fakes, and then all of a sudden changes directions, and it looks like just a train heading in the direction of whoever he's decided has the football. He's just an amazing story, an amazing young man. Everybody at Edgewood thinks he's a wonderful kid because they've been around him, and now all the college coaches are chasing him around because he's 6'8", 250, built like a Greek god, and as a kid that runs a legitimate 4.6 40, he soared into the top 150 in the country by most of the services, and that is after he reclassified from 2016 to 2015. He was going to spend another year in high school, and it's just turned into this unbelievable story that you really can't make up.
We could have an attraction the likes of Yasiel Puig multiplied like 1,000 times because of his lack of familiarity with American football. That I got to keep an eye on, and everybody else as well there. All right, more on the conventional side, Jamie. Auburn pretty much across the board rated as the 12th best recruiting class for 2015 at this point. They've got 8 guys in the ESPN 300. Can you run down some of those guys that are pretty firm in their commits to Auburn, some of the guys that you really like?
You know, Auburn has got several, like many schools, have got several that have already entered school. Javon Robinson right now is the biggest recruit that they've brought in this year. He's a junior college kid out of Georgia Military. He signed with Auburn out of the Memphis area, out of high school, and was a young man that was a casualty to some grade issues. And he is now at Auburn and is a guy that they are really looking towards to compete for their running back position at about 6 foot 220. He is a real physical kid with speed. Reminds me a lot of Ronnie Brown from the Auburn perspective, and he's a guy that's going to come in and compete right away with Rock Thomas at that running back position, and he's very important to them. Along with him already in school is Chandler Cox out of Apopka, Florida, and he's a guy they're looking at to play that fullback H-back position as a freshman. And if you get a chance to look at him, you'll understand why he's very physical at 6 foot 220. Played some quarterback in a Notre Dame box single wing looking offense in high school. Very physical kid and very impressive. And there's several kids in this group that are already in school, but Auburn really has some glaring needs at a couple positions. Fullback, tight end, and the defensive line absolutely glaring, in the cornerback spot too.
So it's a strong recruiting class. I don't think there's any question about that. But as we mentioned off the top, solid recruiting class in the SEC is relative to some of the classes that we see at the likes of Alabama and elsewhere. Who are some of those guys that are leaning, whether it's Auburn or elsewhere, but have Auburn on the short list that you would really love to see come into the fold?
I think the name that has everyone going right now is Byron Cowart. He's the guy that Auburn, by many of your national media sorts, have chosen to put him as the #1 player in the country, and he's also one of those guys that Auburn needs desperately at that defensive end position due to the pass rushing skills that he has and the lack of pass rush that Auburn was able to put on the field last year. C.C. Jefferson is another guy that Auburn is on the short list. However, if you ask me, I think Ole Miss is probably the team to beat with a couple days left to go.
Looking at the 2014 team that at about halfway through the season looked to be a national championship contender, lost some tough games, loses the quarterback in Nick Marshall. Of course, we know Jeremy Johnson's in good shape to take over and looks to be a promising quarterback for 2015. A lot of other guys lost, including Sammy Coates. When you look at the personnel on the team, where are those gaps, those holes that are going to have to be shored up, and possibly by some of these freshmen this fall?
I think the fullback position is one that has the opportunity for a young guy to come in and play early. Chandler Cox has that ability. They also have a young man they signed last year, a Petway kid out of Prattville, Alabama, signed as a tailback, but he was about 6 foot, 6'1", about 235 pounds in high school, is a guy that they're looking at that position. Also, the tight end position is a wide open spot. Jalen Harris from Montgomery, Alabama, is a kid that should come in and get a chance to compete at that tight end position, and he's a big kid, 6'4", 6'5", about 245, 250 in high school right now, and he's a guy that a year ago people thought was going to grow into an offensive tackle because he was in the 265 range, lost a little bit of weight working with Philip Lutzenkirchen prior to his passing there in Montgomery, and got down in weight and really turned himself into a good option as an online tight end.
I tell you, Jamie, that region that you're very familiar with down along the Florida Panhandle, lower Alabama, along the Gulf Shore, parts of Georgia there, Louisiana stretched out close within that 300 to 400 mile range, where you got Florida, Florida State, Auburn, Alabama. You've got LSU, you got Ole Miss and Mississippi State trying to reach down there as well. That region's just amazing when it comes to talent, and also the fight over some of the biggest powerhouse programs in the country that are within shouting distance there. It's just incredible.
It's a region that the schools are very close in proximity to, such as, like you said, Auburn, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Florida, Florida State. They're all messing with the same kids in that region. You go a little further south and bring in the Miami kids, everybody, it's an easy flight down to Fort Lauderdale and to take a look around in Miami. So the schools in this region not only fight each other, over the last couple of years, the southern kids have started leaving the region at times, and you see the rest of the country coming in and dipping into the talent pool here. So it's become a very, very popular destination for college coaches, not only in the Southeastern Conference, but for coaches all over the country the last several years.
All right, Jamie, as you well know, I love to watch the games, love to break it down and talk about the games. So when it comes to this portion of the calendar, I lean on guys like you, so I appreciate the time in breaking down this class. We got 3 more days of this circus.
Absolutely. The circus is just beginning, really. It's going to turn crazy over the next couple of days. Coaches are finishing up their last official visit weekends this weekend. The dead period started for in-home visits and things of that nature at midnight last night, so now it's down to the wire to see what happens come Wednesday. And National Signing Day is such a huge day, but only a little less than 10% of our college football players sign on National Signing Day, but there's a major media circus around that day itself, and it's a very interesting day to say the least.
All right, he is Jamie Hancock of Preps Nation. Please join him on his website there. Check out the work there. Follow him on Twitter. Again, it's Jamie Hancock. Hey, Jamie, always appreciate the time, sir.
Hey, thank you, Mark. I enjoy it every single time we get together.